Hi there! After a long time and long silence, I want to show you how it's working for the moment. It's middle of the summer over here, so a report would be probably good to have. I took out from the 12 panels I was using in a stream one because I had over voltage. The inverter was telling me it's too much voltage in a good sunny day. Today we have a quite cloudy day. It's 4 afternoon. We have an ideal sunshine over here between 12 o'clock and 3 o'clock. I produce around 4 kilowatts per hour. Because of the trees and everything, I'm losing a lot of electricity, but I will not ask the neighbor to cut his trees down, so I will use it wisely in the hours where I can really use it. So it is producing around 4 kilowatt if it's good sunshine in the best hours, and minimum is around 1 kilowatt 900 watt when it's really cloudy and there is no hope of any sunshine. I was buying these panels second hand, and I was adding the 2 more that I got for a spare. If you buy second-hand panels, it would be advisable to buy some extra, because if one of them starts to fail, then you have to have a identical replacement. So if you buy them second-hand, buy 4 or 2, as much as you can afford extra. So I have now 2 extra panels that I'm not using in my inverter, and I added 2 more because I was keeping them on the ground as a spare, and I said, okay, why not, let's produce some current with them. I was connecting the wires behind, each one of them plus, minus, so I bind them in series of 11 panels. And I have still 4 extra on the roof here. Solar panels and a good garden next to them. Why not, I thought. Why not? So this is my garden. Hope to feed myself from here. This is the solar system that I hope to soon see all green growing on it. It is a very successful garage for the summer. I keep here around 15 bicycles. This is my inverter that I'm using. It's a Iasun. I use it because it can work with batteries or without batteries, with grid or without grid. So you can just produce your power with some panels and use it directly to 20 alternative current. Check out this inverter. It's quite cheap and it's a very good inverter. It's made by Iasun. This is it. It's an SV2. Now I have a 2000 watt production. It's cloudy and sunny, but there is one more trick. If you don't suck current out of it, it will not produce. I will show you. Now I have a heater, a water heater that has 1500 watts, and with all the lights over here we get to 1700. So please remember one thing. The first thing when I did, I installed the panels. It was winter, and I put first I started with the very small consumers that I could that I had in the house, like the lights and some chargers and everything. And I had over here, this is the program of the inverter, and I had over here this is the AC output power over here that you are using, and here is what it is producing. It is still cloudy now, so what you are producing is smaller than what your active power is. What I did, I was using very small consumers, and they the panels also didn't produce more than just a little bit more than you consume. And I was very disappointed in the first tests because I wasn't consuming enough and they weren't producing also enough. So the main thing in this is, if you don't consume, they will not produce. If you don't use it, it's not getting shown by this program. This is the EASUN solar program. Here we can see my production of the last couple of days because I disconnected it quite often. But as you can see, this is used current, what I used every day. So it's between 17.9 kilowatts per day to 5. If I'm gone from home, I will not let big consumers run, just the basic things, the cameras and the internet and everything that needs to stay hooked. So I am very satisfied with this system. I'm very satisfied with this inverter. Over here at the connections, I was putting DC fuses on the panels, DC fuses on the batteries. This is a high and low tension relay. I also have it hooked at the grid. I'm living in the city. So if solar panel is not enough, I prefer to take from the grid than taking from my batteries. Using my batteries, I'm just doing it at low amperes, so I avoid any problems with the battery discharging and all that. We will have a theory about the batteries too. For the moment, I'm looking for other alternatives to store the energy, and there are a lot. So I have this battery rack, but a lot of people were telling me be careful with those thin wires. They should be thicker. I have thicker ones, but I didn't change them because I set it my inverter not to discharge more than 20 amps from my batteries, and that is also recommended. You should never discharge more than 10% of your battery capacity if you want them living for a long time. So I have an AC in also from the grid. I'm not feeding the grid, I only still take from the grid because I don't have the right education, and probably I will have another inverter installed soon and more sun panels. And this is protecting my inverter from the high tension from the grid or too low tension, so it's not getting burned. We produce around 1 kilowatt from 8 o'clock in the morning per hour. I'm talking 1 kilowatt per hour from 8 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock, from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock. I have here a lot of shadows, so one of the streams is not working correctly in the morning, but still I have 1 kilowatt power production until 11 o'clock. From 11 o'clock, if there is sunshine, I have around 2.5, and then at 1 o'clock, when the sun is sitting perfectly on my panels, I have maximum I recorded 4.4 kilowatts per hour. Then 3-4 o'clock, this is going down to around 2.5-3 kilowatt per hour, and then in the evening it stays again at around 1 kilowatt until 8 o'clock in the evening. Now we are producing energy, but how do we really use it? Because you will never have enough money to buy enough batteries to use it in the night time. How do we use it, this energy? First of all, you have to know all your consumers from your house. The next thing, you have to time one after another. Don't use big consumers at one time. So this way you protect also the inverter that will be limited. This one is limited at 5.5 kilowatt. So if you have a water heater, you have a washing machine, you have a water boiler, you have to check the consumption on each of them, put them on a paper, and try to synchronize your consumers in the house, so you never get over 3-4 kilowatts. That should also be in the main day, when you have the main sunshine. If you are not home, it's tricky. You have to time them, you have to use timers, but if you will have clouds and you are not hooked to the grid, they will suck a lot of battery energy from your batteries, so that is also not healthy. So I think the biggest thing about solar panels is how do we store the energy, how do we use the energy, how do we catch it when it's the sunshine, and how do we stop it when it's normal sunshine, because you don't want consumers hooked on your system, and you don't want 4 kilowatt consumption in the house with a 1 kilowatt produced by the solar panels. It will try to suck out 3 kilowatt out of your battery and it will burn them, and that is not good. So the good part at me is that I'm home, I'm working from home, and I can decide when to plug in my water heater, when to plug in the big consumers, and how to alternate them, not to use them all at one time. So I ended up making a list with all my consumers. Unfortunately it's in Romanian, but small consumers, big consumers. So I grouped them how to use them, and this helped me a lot to get an over picture of my current consumptions and try to time it so that you really use what you are producing. So when you are producing 4 kilowatt, to use 4 kilowatt, and when you are producing 1 kilowatt, to use 1 kilowatt. This is very important. If you use more, you will suck juice from the batteries or from the grid, or you will burn something. This is at 8 o'clock in the morning. One of my streams has complete shadows on it, so that will run maybe at 10% of its capacity, but the second, the highest one, doesn't have any shadows on it. So this is at 8:30. You can see I already have 1000, almost 1200 watts. We have 4 kilowatts now, 3.9 at 1.5 in the afternoon. So we have a 2.7 kilowatt at 5.5 in the afternoon here in Brasov. I also have a lot of trees over here, so it's not a good hour, but still I have 2.7, 2.8, 3 kilowatts. This was my consumption for the last days, the current that I really use from the solar panels. And now the big quest. We are producing 30 kilowatts per day and using maximum 18. How can we store this energy? I have 3 types of storing energy. 1 into the batteries, 2 in hot water, 3 in compressed air. The little compressor is working. It's trying to replace its bigger brother, 10 kilowatts. We'll see how much pressure we have here. Oh, it's 7. Probably in 15 minutes it will get down to 8 bar and stop. I'm measuring my consumers with this. I put it in the plug, I put my electric device in it, and it will show me how much watts it's consuming. A washing machine is sometimes consuming 2000 watts when it's heating the water, and sometimes only 1-200 watts, so it can be deceptive. You can plug it into this machine, and this nice little fellow will tell you how much current it also consumed. For the last week it makes you a report of that, and then you know your machine is really taking that much current. So this is a current measurer. I did it on all my house equipment and workshop equipment. My biggest consumer that I'm still using are two welding machines, a TIG welder of 200 amps and a MIG-MAG welder of 210 amps. I was using them on the system, but I think it's really tight, and instead of burning one inverter, I will wait until I get my second one. Until then, I'm taking the juice out of the grid. I'm trying to time with this my consumers. So my daily routine consumers, I will choose the big ones to start working at after 12 o'clock, so when we have strong sunshine, and the small daily consumers, I'm mostly using them for heated water. And for heating the swimming pool, I have a lot of water to heat if I don't use the current for anything else. I'm thinking of 2 or 3 more ways to store energy. Kinetic energy, I want to try out to store. More hot water, and also heat up the house with the system that I will have. So now let's get down to the facts. I was using last year in let's say April, 658 kilowatts. Look at my consumption on my bills. This is 600, 800, 600. Then I was in the summertime, I was using less. This is my final review on my system, what it's producing, in the way it was positioned with all the trees around. This is exactly what I am producing right now. I have from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock 1 kilowatt, from 10 to 12 2 kilowatt per hour production. So altogether it's between 28 and 30 kilowatts per day production with this system. But now the thing is, I produce 30 kilowatts and I can maximum use 15 with sucking from the grid another 3. So my bills went down from 800 kilowatts, as you could see, to 150 to 200 kilowatts. That is a real saving. My next episodes will be about storing this energy with low consumers and using this energy in the right time, because if you produce 30 kilowatts and only use 5 of them when you get home, or 2 of them, it's not a very good deal. So the big thing I think about solar panels is how we use in the right time the energy, and how do we store the energy right. Because for me the batteries are still a solution that is too expensive and way too polluting for a green life and for a sustainable life. I'm sorry to say, I know we are in the battery age, but still I would like to see it better preserved, this energy. So in the next episodes I will show you how I'm preserving this energy when it is produced, and what goods I have from all this work. Actually, for me it's also research. I'm not an electronist, I'm not an electrician. I didn't know very much about currents and anything about this when I started. I also watched other videos, but nobody was telling some things about how to use your energy. Everybody was saying how much the solar system produces, but not how much they really use of it. That is very important. How much can you really use of what you produce? Thank you for watching. If you build similar projects, please send me pictures.